Hi friends, it's Julie Golding-Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Scoodic or St. Croix River, the traditional territory of the Passamaquoddy, and I'm grateful that they share this beautiful place with us. Today I have the first in my series using the beautiful Easter Lilies Stamp Set. And you can see the card that we're going to make today. We're going to do a bit of embossing, although I'll suggest other ways you could do it if you're not into embossing or don't have those supplies. And also we're going to be using our blending brushes to add all the color. So it's going to be an interesting card. It's not hard at all to learn these couple of techniques, and I'll go through them step by step so you can see how they work. And the cool thing too is that you can get the next 3 cards, so this one plus 2 more that I'm going to do the next 2 weeks using the Easter Lilies Stamp Set. You can get the card packets with all of the paper supplies, the ribbons and embellishments that you need to complete the projects. All you have to do is add stamps and ink, and the embossing supplies if you want to do the embossing. But in any case, all the paper supplies, the embellishments, and the ribbons will be in the packets. Everything will be pre-cut for you. And if you place an order of $60 before tax and shipping with me, I would be happy to send you this packet for free, no shipping cost at all. So let's get right to it, and I'll tell you about a couple of other exciting things as well as we get going. So let's switch to our other view here, and off we go. Okay, so here's my card. And before I get to the actual card making, I wanted to tell you about this. I have a BOGO that's happening March 17th to 23rd. So the doors, so to speak, on my online BOGO open the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day, at 7:30 p.m. Atlantic. So how it works is, just like it says here, you join my BOGO group on Facebook to participate. And if you click through on the link that says join my BOGO group right in this post, that will take you directly to the address of the group. If for some reason it doesn't work, just message me and say you want to join the group and I'll send it to you separately. Sometimes technology fails us, you just never know. But how this BOGO works is that you buy whatever you want from the Stampin' Up! Website or from the current catalogs that are out. And then after you've paid for your purchase, you get to select an equivalent amount from my BOGO group from my retired items. And you get those absolutely free. All you pay for those is the shipping for me to send them to you. And we can verify that shipping cost and so forth ahead of time as well. So all the information about the BOGO will be in the group itself, and it's also on my website. If you go to juliescraftaddict.com and click on the menu item that says BOGO, it'll tell you all the guidelines that you need to follow for the BOGO, so you'll be ready to go at 7:30 p.m. on Sunday, March the 17th. That's Atlantic time. So if you have any questions about the BOGO, let me know. I like to do these and clear out all my retired stock, and it's also a way to appreciate my customers and give extra value for the money that you're spending. So I hope you'll all enjoy that and join my BOGO group. I also have some classes coming up. One is with this Seaside Bay stamp set, and here is a sample. So how I stamped this sentiment and made this variegated pattern on the mussel shell here was actually not with ink pads, but it was all with Stampin' Write markers. So we're going to have a class where all we do is ink our stamps with these markers, and we can get all kinds of nice and interesting effects. It's also a very cost-effective way to get a whole host of colors of inks to use on your stamps. So that's what we're going to do. There's also a goodie bag that comes with that class, and it's $35 for the class, including shipping. I'll just show you the sample here again in the Seaside Bay stamp set. And as with any of my classes, you can use this stamp set that I'm featuring, or you can use a different one that you have in your stash. A cling stamp set will work the best, and so it's $35 including shipping, and it also includes a $15 goodie bag of paper, embellishments, and ribbons. So I'm happy to include that as well. Another class that's $35 including shipping and also has a $15 goodie bag is this one, and I'm basing it on Sweetest Cherries. Here's one of the samples. And this is a simple stamping class. So it includes only one color of ink. So that's all you have to have is one color. And I've got all the information in my sign up form about that. And you can just click on the link that is in this post as well about classes, and it will give you all the information there. My third class that I have coming up is with this brand new Latte Love. I really love coffee. I don't know if there's any other coffee lovers out there. You can let me know if you're one of them. And I just love my coffee. So I really like this new bundle. You can see all kinds of cool things in it. And I'll show you the paper as well, the DSP Designer Series paper. So there's just one of the lovely patterns that comes in it. And with that one, it's $55, including the tax and the shipping. And you also receive, besides the class packets with everything pre-cut for you, as in all my classes, you also get a $30 goodie bag of paper, embellishments, and ribbons. So I'm really happy to be able to give that extra value. And you can click through the link on this post to look at my classes, or you can go to juliescraftaddict.com and just click on online classes there. Okay, so that's my BOGO and my classes. Let's get right to our card now. And you know what? I've realized right now I set out everything except the stamp set that I need, so I better go get that. Let's see. All right, so Easter Lilies Stamp Set. Where did I put that one? Okay, I gotta find it first. Yeah. Okay, sorry about the delay there. So here is the lovely stamp set. Now I have the dies, which are unfortunately out of stock at the moment, but the stamp set is in stock, so it's available. But you can actually make this particular card without the dies for the stamp set at all. You can just use your scissors to cut them out. And anyways, we'll use the dies here today, but you don't actually need them to complete the project. You can do it without them. So let's start into the stamping here. And what I'm going to do first is stamp these palm leaves around the exterior. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. Oh, hi, Kathy. I'm glad you could join today. All right, so let's get a piece of paper underneath there. And we will stamp off the edges. So we're going to position our paper kind of like that. Oops, we got a little bit of a lighting issue here. There we go, that's better. And then we're going to stamp off the edges. Maybe I'll get a bigger piece of paper. That was kind of small. Here, we'll use a big one. So this is just a piece of scrap paper. It's actually got a travel list for a recent trip to Curacao on it. And here is my paper. So this is Parakeet Party cardstock. So if you want the instructions written for all of this, just go through to my blog and get the instructions there. Again, the link is listed right here in the post, or you can go to juliescraftaddict.com and it's today's post. So I've got all of that there and all of the supplies that I used as well. If you love Parakeet Party, and we're going to use the ink as well, get it now because it's one of the 2022 to 2024 in colors, and they are all going to be retiring as of May 1st when the new series of in colors comes out, or when they sell out, whatever comes first. So now's a good time to get them when most people aren't really thinking those thoughts quite yet, because May 1st is the deadline. So here's the palm leaf. So let's take that, and it just barely fits on a regular kit block. So these are the blocks that just come as part of kits. That's what mostly I use, and I just find they work really well for me, and they're very cost effective because they already come in the kits. So let's just ink this up. And remember, if you're using a brand new stamp, a photopolymer stamp, that's these see-through ones, you need to condition them because they wash them at the factory at the end of the process, and they have a little film of soap on them that will mean the ink doesn't really stick to them all that well. So you just need to wash them, or not wash them, you need to condition them by just putting your fingers over them. So I'll show you what I mean. if you haven't seen that before. So you just put your fingertips on them, and the oils in your fingers will take away that soap coating. If you find they're still not stamping clearly for you, I suggest stamping them in Versamark and then immediately stamping them in your ink, and that will do it. I find that's a really good technique. So we're just going to stamp this kind of randomly off the edge. You don't have to be too careful about it because we're actually going to put something in the middle of the card. So it really doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. So let's do that one there. So I'm just kind of doing this randomly and covering up the edges. I quite like this technique because it's so interesting in the patterns that you end up with. And it's just a lot of fun to do it, and it's so easy. So that's what we've got. So you can see on the original here, this is all you're going to see. So that's maybe 3/4 of an inch around the exterior, maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4. And you don't have to worry about all this middle part because we're going to cover it up with that die cut anyway. So that's all we're going to actually do with the ink pad for right now. So that's what we've got. Doesn't look like much yet, but it will. It's one of those cards that while you're making it, it can look kind of like nothing, and then suddenly everything comes together at the end. So we're just going to take off that ink. So I'm just using my Simply Chamois here. I love this thing. It's just made of a foamy material. You run it under water, make it damp, and you use the water to clean off your stamps. So no chemicals involved. I like that so much. I remember when I first met Stampin' Up! Years and years ago, I had cleaners that I used on these water-based inks, and I just don't do that anymore because I don't find you need it. You can just use water. Okay, so there's what we've got. The next thing that I did was I cut out this die cut, and I used the Scalloped Contours dies. Maybe I'll pull them out to show you. Okay, so this is the Scalloped Contours die set, and I use this a lot. I have to say I hardly ever use these ones, but this scalloped edge is good, and all these scalloped rectangles are super useful. And all of them fit in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine except the biggest one. So even if you only have the mini machine, it's a good set because you can use the rest of them. They just layer up nicely, and they just add a nice touch of elegance to everything, I find. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put this aside, and we are going to take our die cut that I prepared before. Here it is. And we are going to stamp this Peace I Give Unto You. And you can see how it's embossed there. So if you don't want to do embossing, you could just use one of the gray inks. You could use gray granite. You could use basic gray. You could use Pebbled Path, whatever you want. And it would give you a very similar effect. But I'm going to emboss today and show you just how easy it is to do that, because it's very simple actually. So let's do that. I'm going to use my little piece of paper here. And before I emboss, I'm going to use from the Embossing Tool Additions kit here. This is my little embossing buddy, and it just gets rid of any humidity that might be on your paper from your fingers or whatnot. Now my hands are really dry, but I made sure that I didn't put any hand cream on because I don't want to leave little smudges. Otherwise the embossing powder will all stick to those and emboss as well, and we don't want those little fingerprints on there. So it's kind of a chalky material. So I got that done. So now we're going to get out our stamp. So here we're going to use Peace I Give Unto You. You can choose whatever you want for your sentiment. Any one of them will do. So here we go. There's the stamp. And how we're going to do it is with Versamark ink. So this is kind of like an invisible ink. So I'm just going to ink it up really well because we want very good coverage with this. So I'm just going to press it in, not squish it right in, but just kind of lightly but firmly several times. And then we're going to line it up here as best we can and stamp this invisible ink and hold it down for several seconds just so the ink has time to transfer to our paper. Oh, hi Linda, I'm glad you could join today too. yeah, I hope you like this card. This has been a really, really fun bundle to work with. I've enjoyed it a lot. It's one of those bundles where I thought I'd like to try it, and I had no idea what I was going to do with it. Then I kind of got into a creative zone when I was designing these cards, and I really had fun. So this one, I should tell you what this is. This is from the Metallics embossing powders. So you get silver, gold, and copper. And this one's silver, as you can see. So I'm just going to coat that image really well. Then I'm going to tap it like that. And then kind of hit it from the other side to get any loose bits of powder off. And you can see there's not really any loose bits there because I took off the humidity with my embossing buddy first. And it's looking pretty good. So we're going to just put that back in. There is a tool for what I just did, by the way. That's not the most elegant way to do it, but I don't actually have that tool. But you can get one in the Tools Editions kit. Okay, so I've got that one done. So let's emboss that straight away so we're all finished with that. I'm going to use my heat tool, and I'll let you know in advance, this is brand new. I've never used this one before. I had an old one for a long time that was kind of giving up the ghost. And to emboss with powder, they tell you to put it on number 2. Okay, so I'm just going to heat it up. You might hear some noise. All right. So let's see it work its magic here. There it goes. It's turning silver. Look at that. Oh, look how pretty that is. See, that really worked well. I think I missed a piece right there. There we go. Okay, so that is it. So as easy as that, we have embossed this beautiful sentiment on here. So we're going to do a little bit more embossing next. On my sample card here, you'll see that this lily and the leaves are also embossed. So we're going to emboss them right now. I have a little piece of paper all ready to go here. Here it is. And once again, we're going to use the embossing buddy on there and get off any humidity because we don't want any more powder to stick anywhere else except for on the images themselves. And now we'll get our images out. So I used this particular lily, but you could use whatever you want. So I'll put that on. And I also used the leaves. So here's the leaves. And I'll get them ready as well. So we're just going to stamp them on randomly here. It doesn't matter where, as long as we stamp them on the paper, and then we're going to turn them silver and embossed. Oh, I'm glad you liked the card, Kathy. Yeah, this was just a beautiful bundle. And so I definitely recommend it to anybody who's looking for something, not just for Easter, actually, because there isn't actually a single sentiment in this set that's exclusively for Easter. So the only one that I would say kind of suggests Easter for sure is the one that says he is risen. But of course, if you're someone who's a person of faith, Christian faith that is, and you're interested in the resurrection, well, that applies all year, not just at Easter time. So you could use that sentiment at other times of the year. I can see it being good for other kinds of religious cards as well. And so I think that it would be useful anytime. And then the other sentiments are peace I give unto you, God is good, and trust in the Lord with all your heart. So those are good anytime. So I think it's a really nice set. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to coat these really well because I want to make sure we get a good image for both of them. And then we'll just tap this off. I'm going to hold it by the edges and get any stray little bits away. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So now we're going to emboss those as well. Oh, you ordered the magnolias. Oh, yeah, you'll have to show us what you've made with the magnolias. I don't actually have that set so far, but I saw some projects somebody was making the other day, and they were really quite beautiful. So I would love to see what you do with that. Okay, so let's put this all back. So a tip when you're embossing is always return your powder to your little jar before you turn on your heat tool, because and yes, I know this because I made this mistake before. If you turn on your heat tool and the powder's still there, it goes everywhere. So you will be vacuuming for a long time. So it's better to put it all back in, clean it up completely, and then pick up your little piece of paper and emboss. So that's just something I've found. All right, here we go. There it goes. It's turning silver. Look at that. It's like magic. Oh, very nice. That's beautiful. Okay. Okay, so you can see how quickly and easily you can go from nothing stamped at all to a completely embossed, beautiful image. So it's really, really simple to do. So again, you need Versamark ink and you need your embossing powder as well as your heat tool. And I do recommend the embossing buddy as well. That's a really good thing to have. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use our two colors. This is Lemon Lolly, if it's not visible there. And this is Parakeet Party. And we are going to brush in with our blending brushes some color on these flowers. So this is a really simple process too. No fuss at all. These are some old blending brushes I've had for a while. And Stampin' Up! Also sells them, and they have some you can buy. So I'm just putting a little bit of yellow on there. I'm going to tap it on here to make sure I've got some. And then I'm just going to brush it from the bottom up. And what that does is it makes it so that there's more color at the bottom and it kind of fades out toward the top. And you can put on as much color as you prefer. So it's just to your taste. So there's what I've got. I might add a little more at the bottom. And then I think that's really going to do it for me. And you don't have to wash these after you use them. They are totally good to just brush off like this and just keep the same color tones on the same brush. This one, you can see I made a mistake and used it on black one time, so kind of stained it there. You can rinse them out in water and then store them this way to dry. That's so that the water doesn't go all the way down into the bristles, but comes out of them onto the cloth that they're on. So that's just a simple way to use those. And let's add some Parakeet Party here. So let me see how much we got there. So I'm going to add some here. Oops, you can't really see that. Let me put that up a little more. So I'm going to add it here at the bottom so that the stem has a little green. Okay, that's good. And now on this one, again, I'm going to brush toward the top so that there's more green at the bottom of the image than there is at the top. Okay, just gives it a little bit of gradation. Now you can't really see that right now, but you will when it's cut out. It'll look obvious. So let's just get the excess color out of that, and then we'll put it in our bin over here. You can see I've got one for pretty much every kind of color tone. Collected them over time. But you can just get a set of 3 from Stampin' Up! And that'll do. You can wash them between uses if you need to use different colors, or just use like one for all reds, one for all blues, that sort of thing. Okay, so that is it to get that result. Not hard at all. And now what we're going to do is actually cut out our image. So here's our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And how you put the images on here is you get plate number 1, and it's got all the instructions. We need 2 plates number 2, and sandwiched between, we're going to have our paper. So plate number 1, plate number 2, that's going to be our paper. And then in between the next plate, we're going to put the dies. And I'm just going to grab those. So here are the dies, which, as I mentioned earlier, they're out of stock at the moment. They're supposed to be back in April, but you do not need these dies to actually do this project. You could easily cut these out with scissors, as you can see. So it's not a problem if you don't have the dies. In fact, all 3 cards that will be included in my free class with your $60 order, I'll have the pieces that you need from the die set all cut out for you, and you don't need the dies to complete the project at all. Just the stamp set if you want the images to be exactly what I have. So here is this one. That's the lily. So we'll take that, and here are the leaves. So let's get those as well. All right, I think I will cut these apart and just do one at a time. You can secure the dies onto the paper if you wish with washi or another kind of low tack tape, and that will work really well. But if you just do one at a time, I find they often will stay in place as long as you just carefully kind of tamp them down there before you start. Okay, so I'm just going to move my machine so you can see it coming through. Okay, so here we go. So look at that. See, that looks really beautiful, right? And you've got these lovely gradations of color going from a deep green and then yellow into a lighter yellow and then white on the edges. And just with a couple of brushes of our blending brush on there. So it was super easy to do. I love those kind of techniques when it's so simple and it doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes a little bit of know-how. And so I'm happy to share whatever I know, and I'd encourage you to do the same. If you have tips you want to tell us, that would be great, because we all can learn so much from each other. I just think that's a really nice thing about the paper craft industry, is that everybody shares what they know. And I really, really appreciate that. Okay, so let's move that over here. Okay, here we go. So that is the set of leaves. So let me just move everything else out of the way and I'll show you those. So look at that. See, again, you get the gradations of color, deeper at the bottom, then gradually going to almost a yellowish green, and then a bit of white at the tips. So it's very simple to do that, and it just makes it look really nice, I think. Okay, so let's get our sample back out here. So here's our sample, and we're going to put this thing together now because we've got all the pieces. So first of all, we're going to take our piece I give unto you panel, and we're going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. So here we go. We're going to put those on, and we're just going to add that. Just a word about adhesives. I would encourage you to get really good adhesives. I buy mine from Stampin' Up, not just because I'm a demonstrator and get a discount when I do that, but because I've tried a lot of them over the years, and I don't want my cards falling apart. I found some of the cheap ones, well, pretty much all the cheap ones, the cards fell apart in very short order, sometimes within a few months, and I'm just wanting my things to stay together. And so I'd encourage you to buy good adhesives. And they're not that expensive actually either for the quality you get. With these little guys, you get 3 sheets of these, which is 300 of them for $6. So it's really not a lot. If you like the mini dimensionals instead, you can see how much smaller those are. You get 720 of those for the same price, $6. So I would say just make sure you buy really good adhesives. Okay, so I'm just kind of piecing this together to see where I want it to go. And then we're going to use both these kind of adhesives to stick that on. So let's put one on the back of the lily, and then we're going to use these mini dimensionals because they're just big enough for this leaf section. All right, so what we will do here, let me see. So I'm going to put on this one first, just for placement. And you can place it however you like on your card. I just kind of like it at this angle. I think it looks kind of nice that way. So I'm going to put that on. Maybe I need one more here. I think in the middle would be better. Oops, too close. There we go. So I'm going to take all these little papers off. So the only thing with these little mini dimensionals is it is harder to use them, I find, than the bigger ones. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, so there, we've got that on there. And let's go ahead and we will add our little bow here. So the bow is actually made with a ribbon combo pack. And the ribbon combo pack is this one. It's called Sheer Ribbon Combo Pack, and it comes with Bubble Bath Pink, Azure Afternoon Blue, and Lemon Lolly Yellow. And I really like this because it says it's sheer, but it's not very see-through, as you can see here. And it's got quite a nice shine, and it has a silver thread through both edges. And so it's extremely pretty. I find it easy to work with as well. And actually I cut a piece to suit here, so I'm just going to use the piece that I cut. So here we go. So I'm just doing the bunny ear method. So I take 2 bunny ears, put one bunny ear over the other like that, and then bend this one down through the hole. Okay, so it takes a little practice, but once you've got it, you can make a perfect bow pretty much every time, and the middle is always flat. So that's what I especially like because I end up mailing a lot of my cards, and I really appreciate having a flat middle on it because then I don't have to pay extra postage most of the time. Sometimes you do if you have other elements on your card, but generally speaking, it keeps your postage down. So that's really nice. Okay, so I'm going to use a mini glue dot for that, and I recommend these as well. These are just great little things. I'm just going to take that part off that's used. So you can see there's the glue dot right there. And for ribbon, I love them because they stick so well to ribbon and they just work like a charm. I love them. So there we go. So there's our little piece of ribbon. And then you can see I have some embellishments on there. And they are one of my go-tos. These are the Rhinestone Basic Jewels. So I love these guys too because they go on almost any project. You get a lot of them for your money. I think they're only $8.25 for a pack, and you just get a ton of them. So this is just part of a package. I cut off the bottom because I had used all those. So let's get this ready. So there's one. I think I'll use my Take Your Pick tool. So this is the Take Your Pick tool, whoops, upside down. And one end of it has putty, so it picks up those tiny little embellishments that can be really hard to get. So there you go. So that one, there it is. It's stuck on the end. And let's put that there. The bigger ones I find I can just pick up. That's easy enough, but the other ones not so much. Okay, so let's put a big one there. And we'll grab one of these little guys again. Okay, maybe I want to place that one a little bit lower then. Try to keep them kind of equidistant there so that they look similar. And then I'm going to take one more of these big ones and I'm going to put it down here. And then we're going to put one more small one in. So you can place them however you like and use all small or all big or whatever is to your taste. But I like a little bit of mixture if I've got enough of them. And that, my friends, is the card for today. So not too complicated. Doesn't even take all that long to make once you kind of know where you're headed with it. And once again, if you would like to make this card and 2 more in this series that I'll be doing in the next 2 weeks, both on Thursday, you can place an order with me of $60 or more before tax, and I would be happy to send you the card packets to make these 3 cards absolutely free and without any shipping on the little packets. So thanks again for joining me today. Don't forget to join my BOGO group. BOGO starts on March the 17th. That's this weekend. I would love to see you there and see you get some really good deals. And in the meantime, have a wonderfully crafty day and a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.